My next project is a piece that was chosen from my inventory for clients who got this dresser and then had this dresser done. And now we're going to do a third dresser to match, make a full set. First thing to do is remove all of my hardware. This dresser has a lot of hardware. Look at all the drawers. But thankfully, with my new screwdriver, this is actually going quicker. I'm going to use some Green Easy. They've got a really nice, environmentally friendly cleaner, and it works really well. So I'm going to get everything all cleaned up, and then I went over it with another damp rag just to take off any residue. Going in with 120 grit sandpaper. My goal here is to just scuff everything up because this is in beautiful condition. Just scuffing all the drawers. Now to the sanding pad. This is perfect for getting all of those grooved areas that you'd normally have to do by hand. The edges of the drawers around, so I'm also going to be going around every drawer with the sanding pad. Time to take out all the drawers. And there's actually two drawers that have the mechanism for the lock, and I have the key. I'm so excited. Look at this lock. Click. That's the extent of a lock. These really are just for show, primarily. But this drawer was meant to look like it had to. It had this hardware where it was inset, and that one was supposed to look like a lock, although it's not. So I've got to get rid of that. But now that the drawers are out, it's time to go ahead and finish sanding the body of the dresser. And the edges, there were very few dings or nicks or anything in this, so it was really just a lot of scuffing. However, on the edges, on these round areas, there were a number of just little dents and scuffs, and probably because this is the area they touched the most while taking drawers in and out. So I went with the pad on my orbital because it really cuts through more than the Surfprep. Time for some Bondo. I keep a Bondo kit together. Everything I need is in there. I am changing hardware to coordinate with the other two pieces, so everything has to get filled in. Lots of Bondo, lots of holes. And again, there were multiple locks on different drawers. This one, that tiny little 1/4 of an inch tongue on that lock had been sticking up, and somebody pulled real hard and broke this area. I am going to be eliminating that particular mechanism, so I'm just filling it in. Now that the Bondo is set, just have to sand everything smooth. Okay, you can see now where I have filled in all the holes except for the one that I want. Look at the shadows of those hardware, the previous hardware. Whew. Time to sand this down and get it all shaped up so it will now coordinate and match, blend right in. You'd never know it was there. Okay, time to get some things cleaned up. And then I decided, let me send my client this video. So, do you like the show? No. She goes, go ahead and take it off. Oh, okay. I can do that because I didn't like it either. So, within 5 minutes of our texting back and forth, that was gone. Bye. Bye-bye, shell. And then those little details that were also on there. I just wanted a nice straight edge, which I have now. Just cleaning up the edges, and then I'm going to take some wood filler. There is a little seam where that shell sat in there, so I'm just getting that filled up. Sand it all down again. And this is beautiful. You'd never know that that thing was there. Time to put everything back in. This is ready for paint. Into the tint we go. Prime time. One thing about primer, I mean, it's fantastic for adhesion and everything, but it also makes things pop. So any dent or little bit of anything that you had will now really show through, which they did here. So here's some more wood filler. Really, it was just tiny little areas, mostly in where the holes had been filled in. So I get those all covered up. with the wood filler. And while that's setting up, I'm going to go ahead and measure for all the new hardware, and I'm just setting up my hardware jig because I've got 9 little drawers there to do. And once you get the jig set for one, just mark my hole, flip it around, do the other side, and then drill all the holes. The jig really makes quick work of this. Otherwise, you're putting a piece of tape on there and you're measuring every single one. No fun. So I'm putting in 7.5-inch long poles. And when you do a long pole, you have got to be right on. Or 1, you can't install it, and 2, it's crooked. So you gotta be real careful. But now that the wood filler is all set up and I have my holes drilled, time to smooth everything out again. Just going over all the wood filler areas. And then I did a second coat of primer. After the primer has set, I sand everything now lightly with a real high grit sandpaper just to smooth everything out. We're ready for paint. This is a custom blend that I made. Again, using Farmhouse Evolution, my favorite paint, Elemental Gray and Bhold Black. This is probably a 3-to-1 of Bhold Black with a little bit of the Elemental Gray. It just warms this up. It becomes a charcoal rather than a really in-your-face black. It becomes this really pretty smooth black color. They liked it so much that this is now the 3rd dresser I'm doing for them, so it's a great color. So these drawers, I paint with the drawers in, but these drawers sit on the front of the cabinet, the lip of the drawer there. You can see little voids. So once I get a couple of coats of paint on, I go ahead, take all the drawers out, just paint these with a little poly brush and get that all touched up. I did another coat of paint, and now this is my top coat. Top coat on black or very dark colors sometimes can be kind of scary, but I tint my top coat by just pouring out all of my paint that's in my canister and then pouring the top coat in, and it's tinted, and it really just blends so much nicer. That way you get a nice flawless finish. So the top coat set on there for a couple of hours. I came back in with sand. These are sanding sponges, just to sand in between coats because I really want that smooth finish. And then I go in with a microfiber towel that's just barely damp. This is my 3rd coat of top coat, and my sprayer decided to throw out a bunch of chunks. I tried to save it with a poly brush and just completely destroyed the top. I had to put that away for a while. I walk away, it'll be okay. I was on the very last coat, and then disaster strikes. So the next day, I go in and sand it all down. Now this is just buttery smooth. I think it's actually better than it was the first time around. So accidents happen for a reason. The other thing that I needed to take care of was this lock. It had previously been incorporated into the hardware. Well, that hardware is gone, so now I need to cover it up, otherwise it's just a hole. So I used my drill to make that hole bigger, then tapped this little thing in place. I bought these on Amazon. And then just sanding around it. So back in the tent for another coat of paint. Kind of had to start over again since I had sanded so much. And although the sanding on the top was just to smooth out the top coat, I never got down to the primer, so I was good to go with just adding more paint. I did the top coat. Everything is flawless this time, thank goodness. Time to install my hardware. Here's a look back at where we started, and here we are. So now they have 3 of these beautiful dressers in this same scheme, same hardware. I hope you like it, and make sure to follow for more.